Hey, everybody, and welcome to Pardon Will Live. I'm your host, David Lilly, aka Pardon Will. If you do me a favor, go and like and subscribe, you jabronis, wherever you're watching this from, whatever you're watching this on, whatever you're doing. Just go ahead and like and subscribe. It might not even be my channel. You could be scrolling on whatever. You'd be like, oh, I forgot to like and subscribe this random thing. Go and do that too. Like and subscribe to everybody, not just me. Do it. Today is a very special day. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there. And I know it's a little belated. You're like, oh my God, I forgot to get my dad a gift. You can go to pardonwell.com. I'm not going to pull it up. You guys know the drill. Got some cool stuff on there. Got a pretty cool t-shirt. Oh man, I should have pulled it up. Got a Chuck Norris t-shirt that I custom designed. Dads love it. I know that for a fact because I know a dad that has it and wears it all around. My father-in-law. And he's the coolest cat in town with his t-shirt. To be honest, he's the coolest cat in town, not because of the t-shirt, but because I know what town he lives in. Coolest cat in town. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this Sunday, on this Father's Day. This evening's out. We're just gonna hang out. I did some slight preparation, but I feel like we're just gonna rant. It might be a short one for you guys. We're gonna talk about a lot about the Acolyte, and I titled this episode called Breaking Bad brand loyalties. And so I know, you guys are probably like, oh, sweet, we're going to talk about Breaking Bad. That's super relevant. Nope, not talking about Breaking Bad at all, actually. No Breaking Bad conversations. Because I don't know a whole lot about Breaking Bad. I think I got like 4 episodes in, and I was like, I think I'm good. I know it's like the greatest show of all time, but it's, wasn't for me. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the Acolyte. Full disclosure, spoilers ahead. I got some articles I want to read. We're going to talk about that and really about brand loyalty and the sacredness of people and having their brands and how people really sign on to these and what it means for the brand when you have a loyal fan base. So we're going to talk a lot of cool stuff like that. So just a heads up, I didn't watch this latest episode of the Acolyte, and here I'll tell you why. So I watched the first 2 episodes, and I talked about it last time. I got a fly running around here. I talked about it last time, and I said it was pretty decent. I like the costumes. I like the planets. I like kind of where they were. And I read an article that brought up a few things. So I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And we're gonna read that here in a minute. But I didn't watch this last one because I saw the news when it came out, and so I kind of sat on it for a little bit and had some people ask me, it's like, hey, did you see this latest episode? And I was like, well, if I'm gonna talk about it on the podcast, then I probably should watch it. And then I sat on that for a little bit and I was like, why? I already know what happens. I read the articles, I kind of saw it. Am I gonna waste my time? And why would I waste my time? So I could justifiably critique it, even though I haven't seen it. And that's probably what you're thinking, like, David, how are you gonna talk about an episode without ever seeing? Well, I don't know if I technically need to, and you may have not have seen it. I don't know if you technically need to, but we are going to spoil it a little bit. And so I wanted to start off with that. We're going to bring up a Forbes article, and I thought this was a pretty good. I thought this was fairly decent. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. This one. I think I'm going to split screen this as well. Oh, hold on a second. Let's do this. What is this? No, don't care. We're going to talk about this Forbes article. I'm going to read a little bit of it and see what Forbes had to say. So this title is The Acolyte Episode 3 Review, one of the most disappointing Star Wars episodes ever made, by Eric Kahn. Got a lot of pop-ups real quick. So the 3rd episode of Disney's The Acolyte is an embarrassment to the entire franchise, though the same could be said for much Star Wars these days outside of Andor and the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I'm going to stop there real quick. I like this, not because it was a confirmed to my bias, but it also tells me that, yeah, I mean, everything I saw online, most people loved Andor. Most people loved the Mandalorian first 2 seasons. Everybody was kind of iffy on Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. I liked Obi-Wan more than I liked Ahsoka. Ahsoka wasn't too bad. But the 3rd season of Mandalorian was a bit of a downturn. And Book of Boba, the only cool thing about the Book of Boba is when they brought the Mandalorian in. So basically made like Mandalorian season 2.5 or whatever. But yeah, I like that this is a little bit of the same. So we all kind of feeling the same thing. We know we're not often, the outer rim, trying to figure out like why is everyone too different. But we're going to read an article here in a little bit that is, I think it's a terrible take. and we're gonna get to that. But this is what Eric has to say in this article. He says, "Here's one of the exchanges between two characters in the latest episode. May, which is one of the Jedi girls, says the Jedi are bad. Osha, the Jedi are good. Later, the same two characters, the twin protagonists and antagonists of the story, as the children in the flashback episodes, say to one another, 'What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?'" All right, so without having seen this episode, no, and he continues, he goes, "I want to ask Disney the same question. What have you done?" This kind of tells you a little bit about where they were going anyway. And so I thought the writing for the first two weren't too bad. Story building's not, but the dialogue was pretty weak. Um, but I kind of just glossed over it because I was like, well, maybe they just haven't found their stride yet. Maybe the actors are just kind of warming up their parts. Maybe they're just kind of building in the story. But this stuff, Eric is on this is kind of right. Do you have an excuse? Because here's the thing, even if you were like fresh out of college and you're like, let's write a script for this thing. Even when you're writing the script and you're reading it in the words just the way I did with this article, wouldn't you stop and go, can we do something with this? Because this, even just looking at it in writing, looks pretty crazy. And so that was another thing. He goes on and says this entire episode is a bad joke. We learned that May and Osha lived with their mothers in a society of witches, all who are female. It appears that they have conceived using the Force or something. Force using witches are also apparently frowned upon in this galaxy. They are the Force. They called the Force the thread. I'm getting dark side vibes here, though. I'm also getting the sense that this is to show we'll try to be all edgy and make the Jedi out to be the bad guys, which is pretty common. Which we've seen. He says it, which we've seen play out half a dozen times at this point. All right, we're gonna pause there real quick. So the main complaint that I noticed from really hardcore Star Wars fans, the biggest like emblematic thing, like, oh my god, what did they just do? Wasn't so much of the woke stuff. Although you could say a lot of that. I think in the episode the live I did last week, I was like, I don't know what's going on here. They could all be lesbians. Who knows? It doesn't matter because as long as they don't just be like, hey, lightsaber battle, stop. Hey, do you want to hear about my sexuality and learn about how diverse I am? That was fine. Just don't put that in there. Let's just, I mean, you can allude to whatever. It doesn't care. We can just be like, this romantic stuff is nonsense anyway. Let's just get past and let's get some lightsaber battles. Let's go force using. Let's throw people around the room with our minds. But of course they were going to be in there. We all knew it. I knew it. I said it. I said it last week. We knew the woke hammer was going to fall. The woke hammer and sickle was going to fall onto Star Wars. This acolyte. We just didn't know when. We didn't know how blatant it was going to be. So we knew it was coming. So everyone kind of already buckled up, ready for the rainbow flags to be flown all over the place. But the thing I don't think people expected was, and it took me a minute. It took me a minute after I read some of these comments, but people were really shocked by how they took Anakin's origin story and kind of just crumpled it up and threw it in the trash with all the other crap stories. And what they mean by this, hopefully you've already picked up on this, is because these witches, these lesbian witches, call on the Force to immaculately concept twins, light side, dark side, whatever. And they just did it. And people were like, so you can just do this now? You can just you just call on the Force to impregnate women. And they can just be Force users by the Force. This is a thing that people can just do a really garbage chant. And all of a sudden you can have Force users like this. The whole Force in itself throughout the whole Star Wars thing wasn't given to everybody. And if you got the Force, it was like, oh my God, it's a big deal. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, like the golden ticket. Like you got the golden ticket, bro. That's how Star Wars The Force felt. But Anakin's particular origin story, him not having a father, and basically, forgot his mom's name, basically saying that Anakin was conceived by the Force. There is no dad. Gave a whole like Jesus story arc, like archetypical Jesus, the Immaculate Conception concept, that the Force created Anakin to be the chosen one, to bring balance to the Force. That's his whole thing. So it was supposed to insinuate like this has never happened before and probably will never happen again. This is very particular. This is very special. Anakin is the chosen one. Like it's a big deal that there is no dad. It's the Immaculate Conception. It's the Christ archetype. And then with this whole ritual thing they did in Acolyte, They basically were like, yeah, that thing that doesn't mean anything. It's just it's a flavor of the week. You can just do it. You can make your kids force user, whatever. Just if you got some witches, you got some lesbian witches around, you can do the force chant, and anybody can have the force. Anybody can have a kid. Um, and so a lot of people were mostly upset with that. But a lot of the wokesters from the Star Wars character like, no, they're not upset with that part. They're upset because there's people of color in this show and it's a bunch of women and it's nothing but these. And we'll read this article here in a minute. It's fantastic article. But anyway, I want to stop there. That was the biggest complaint. That was probably one of my biggest complaint, even though having not watched it. Definitely feel like that was a big deal. Let's get back to this article. We'll keep reading because he goes into a few other things. Osha and May fight with one another constantly and are very, very irritating throughout the entire episode. Osha wants to leave her people and May wants to stay. When the Jedi show up and ask to test the girls with force powers, they agree to fake not having any. But Jedi Master Soul convinces Osha. I mean, again, spoiler alert. It's basically But here's the thing: this short bit is the entire episode, from what I know. Like it's just a giant flashback, a giant nothing burger of a flashback. Um, Anyway, could have been like a 3-minute flashback in any other episode. Instead, they made a whole one because they really, really care about this particular origin story. Now, still convinces Osha not to lie, and she says she wants to be a Jedi and leave them against her mother's wishes. Blah, blah, blah. It goes into the whole thing. If you really are curious about this crappy plot line, you can go and watch it. But anyway, one of them dies, the other one lives, supposedly dies. Here's a few scattered thoughts. This is at the end of the article. I'm going to read this. And I thought these were, I reminisced with these. It says IGN says the episode offers up a lot of tantalizing new layers of how we perceive both the Jedi and the Force. And I would like to know if we use different versions of the word tantalizing. Is that I'm confused about the entire motivation of May, who wants revenge on the Jedi, but is actually the one responsible for killing everybody. If that is anyone is actually dead, after all, both twins thought the other was dead. It seems like no one and the witches, no one, it seems like none of the witches died at all. Even if she didn't burn everyone to death, she certainly started a fire that she certainly must believe killed Osha at the very least. Basically saying like that none of this lines up, nothing matches up. And I don't know if you could take this and then tell the story to make it matched up in later episodes. It definitely seems like they just phoned it in that day. Um, Another thought: the Jedi in Episode 2 kill himself over what seems as if there's no more of the story than this to make it it to make absolutely no sense whatsoever. He's talking about the guy who accepted the death, and it basically means nothing because no one died. And so, if no one died, then why is this guy self-sacrificing himself? This is a guy levitating with the force shield around him. Continuing on, the witch chants are one of the lamest chants of all history. I wanted to giggle maniacally listening to it. I also wanted to cry. I adhere to that. I felt the same way. And basically goes on and on. So basically, Forbes had a ton of complaints, a lot of complaints that I felt. I felt a lot of these complaints as well. Um, and so that was kind of the Forbes article. We're gonna check out this other article. I want to juxtapose Forbes' take with Inverse. So I saw this on Twitter. This article going around. So actually, let's go to Twitter first. So there's a few tweets that I saw that I thought were fantastic, and then one tweet that was making the rounds was a headline of a news article. Let me get rid of this, and let's go to let's go to Twitter real quick. I'll share you two of my favorites. So here's one. Can you guys see this? Oh, let me do this. I'm gonna split screen it. Here's somebody I follow. Whoop, where are we at? Here we go. Me realizing I can let go of Star Wars instead of wasting my time on Disney's cringe crap. And I love this because I felt this is pretty much the entire thing we're going to talk about tonight. But this wasn't my favorite tweet. This was actually my favorite tweet.
Oh, no,
I thought that was just perfect. Whoever made that, genius. Now, again, I don't know so much if it was the woke stuff that turned everybody off, but it definitely has been permeating throughout the whole Star Wars thing. And so, we're going to move on to this article because the woke thing seems to keep coming up with the Marvel, the Disney, and all of that. But first, we're going to check out. We got some comments. We got Insane War Dog said Anakin blow up the Death Star since Dino Dance. I don't. Oh, and the Dino Dance is an emoji. For some reason, it typed it out. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what. I mean, yeah, I get the. I get it. New Star Wars sucks. Sucks, man. Big fish. Another emoji. It keeps typing out. Look, the new Star Wars. Here's the thing about the new Star Wars stuff. It doesn't all suck. Like there's some weird in betweens. Like the Mandalorian and Andor was not bad. And so that's the thing that's the most confusing because you could this is why I'm holding off on this next article, but this is why this next article is complete garbage. Actually, let's just go. Let's just read it real quick. We're going to go through this next article and then after that we're just going to break it down because it is completely garbage. Let me see. It's this one. Let me set this up real quick. Let's go split screen. You guys probably won't see that. So I'm just going to pretty much read it out. This is inverse.com, and I don't think this is satire. It says, The Acolyte isn't ruining Star Wars, you are. Lucasfilm's latest series of the franchise, most promising yet, but fans are too blinded by their hate to see it. That is the subtitle. All right, buckle up, everybody. No one hates Star Wars more than those who claim to be Star Wars fans. Sure, the past few years have given the fandom plenty critique. The sequels splintering the fan base beyond recognition and Lucasfilm's effort to expand the galaxy on a small screen have been mixed at best. In some cases, criticism is inevitable. Not everyone will find something to like about the franchise's recent output. At a certain point, though, the discourse reaches a fever pitch and Lucasfilm most promising projects get swept up in the drama. Basic intro to this, I get it. So we're just going to continue. The Acolyte is not the first Star Wars project to face the blunt backlash. This is going to continue. They're going to bring up a bunch of other things that face a bunch of backlash. I'm going to kind of skip it over. But basically saying like everything that comes out is going to have backlash. What makes the Acolyte any different? They say whether you know them as a fandom menace or a cluster of blue check users on Twitter, it's impossible to escape their orbit. The same folks that review bombed diverse swings in Marvel's Eternals and the Lord of the Rings prequel, The Rings of Power, have now set their sights on the Acolyte. Here to hear them tell it, the series is worse than it. Worst thing that's ever happened to Star Wars, and showrunner Leslie Headland is just as fiendish as Lucasfilm's president Kathleen Kennedy. To them, the Acolyte's woke agenda is something to be feared. It's ruining Star Wars. It's poisoning pop culture itself. It needs to be stopped by any means necessary. Now, is this like a thing? Sure. And I said this before, and I'm going to recant it here because this is the tale as old as time. And so I'm at the point of irritation where I'm not even sure if here's what I'll say, just to kind of give this heads up. This keeps happening. Marvel keeps coming out with garbage, and then Star Wars keeps coming out. All these major, hardcore brands keep coming out with garbage. And the thing they cling on to the most is like, all these, people out here just are bigoted and they're racist and they don't like the woke agenda, so that's why they're tearing it up. No. If you pay attention to most of their complaints are about the storyline and how it's completely bad writing because the woke agenda is permeating through it. You could have your wokeness if you didn't make it the point of the story. See, they're already losing. They just think, well, these people just hate woke. So we're just sick and tired of it. And I used to say, well, it's a small fringe, maybe right-wing Star Wars and Marvel fans that are constantly coming out and be like, well, I don't like this person because of skin color. Maybe they're out there, but it's a small fringe. I'm taking all that back. I don't care anymore. I don't even think that's a big enough fringe now. I think if these people are still watching, like myself, Star Wars and Marvel, it's not because we're like, well, I hate this. It's not watching it because we get off on, criticizing woke stuff. We're just hoping somebody might come through and be like, hey, here's a little woke agenda. It's small. It's in the background. But here's a good storyline. And no one would say anything. No one would care. So all of that being like, I know people come out and be like, well, it's just a small minority of people who are bigoted and racist. No, I don't even think those people exist. I think people at this point in time are just wanting a good story and they're failing to do a good job. They have no merits. And so all they can do is blame it on the fan base for pointing out stuff like, the race of the characters or how diverse the cast is or, what their sexuality is and how they don't like it. No, we just want good writing. That's, I would say, 99% of Star Wars fans out there. Anyway, we're going to continue to read this ridiculous article. We realize how ridiculous this sounds, right? God, I hope so. They're talking about this is in reference to people just hating the woke agenda. Because to them, people hating the woke agenda sounds ridiculous, but it doesn't. I just explained why it's not ridiculous. Anyway, God, I hope so. But if not, let's try this. The Acolyte is not actually ruining Star Wars, but the bigoted backlash is definitely ruining the fun for everyone else. Cry me a friggin' Star Wars river. That's, again, it's ruining it for everyone else. All of this bigoted backlash is ruining. You can enjoy it. I know a ton of people, super woke people, that love being represented in Star. I don't know how. They're not Jedi in real life, but whatever. They feel represented in the storyline. Um, I said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I think I'm a little bit more spot on. And this is just, I don't know who's, if you're watching this and be like, yeah, I like representation in the stories. I brought up Loki being one of the best Marvel series, all because the writing was great. And I don't know anybody who relates to being an Asgardian god who's got a bad rap and his brother overshadows them. That stuff's universal. And so that's the thing that I just don't, this whole thing about your bigot is ruining for everybody else. If you are watching movies to feel to see yourself in them, to put yourself in that place, um, I I don't know if you have a high enough IQ to actually watch something for the storyline. And David, that's super harsh. You just saying all these people are dumb? Yes. If you're only watching something to kind of connect on an empathetic or a sympathetic or emotional level to the characters that you see, and the plot lines don't matter at all, or the writing, like the actual script writing is bad, you can see right through that because you just want to see yourself in the characters. It's got to be some kind of a low IQ thing. I don't know what to say about that. Because it just means you could basically just watch Real Housewives, and if they slightly look like you feel that maybe it's just living vicariously through these characters. Maybe that's what it is. If you're just watching stories to live vicariously through the characters, then I don't think you're there for the story at all. But they don't seem to think that. Anyway, let's continue to go. That was my little rant on that. People who have a problem with storylines not matching up, low IQ. It's not outright shocking to see something like the Acolyte marred by racist, misogynist, and even anti-LGBTQ backlash. There it is. Happy Pride Month, everybody. That Star Wars devotees would share multiple bad faith treaties about the series on YouTube or tank its audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. By the way, I think this is a link. I'm not going to click on it. I'm going to tell you because I just looked it up. Lo and behold, we all know the Rotten Tomatoes scoring thing is ridiculous. The critic score is always, most of the time, vastly different than the audience score, and I think we all know why that is. Critics, they're out of touch with the majority of the public. Let's just be honest. But this one, I looked up all of the Star Wars' Rotten Tomatoes scores. This one had the biggest disparity between the two. The critics thought the Acolyte so far was like an 88% good, and the audience rated it like as 18, and 18% bad. Like they thought 18% rated it bad, or no, that's the rating. It got 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. It means the audience thinks it's garbage. The critics thinks it's great, which we see this a lot when it comes to these particular movies. And it's not. And again, it's not always about what she lists: racist, misogynistic, and even anti-LGBTQ backlash. Again, no one really cares about that stuff, and no one would care if your story writing was good. And I say that as a wholehearted fan, if you could just write a good storyline, no one cares about anything else. It's not even highlighted. It wouldn't even show up in the thing. But because you want to highlight it instead of the story, now you get a bunch of people going like, oh yeah, if you would have left this out, maybe someone would have paid attention to the story instead of trying to put this stupid woke agenda in. We would actually get good stuff. Anyway, um, let's continue. It's just par for the course at this point. This is, after all, the same fandom that launched consistent attacks against actors like John Boyega, Kelly Marina Tran, and Disney Ridley. All right, to be honest with those three, the writing for those characters were awful. Like, it was bad writing. Kelly Tran's writing was awful. Her character was unlikable because she didn't even fit. Didn't feel like she was in that right movie. John Boyega, to be honest, I feel like they wrote his character wrong. I don't think I had a problem. I don't know anybody who had a problem with him as an actor, but whatever. Daisy Ridley, again, the Mary Sue concept. Who is this person? This thing, and people just got mad about this. The same fandom that were publicly admonished by Ewan McGregor himself when Obi-Wan Kenobi faced similar pushback. I thought Obi-Wan was great. No one had a problem with it because no one cared because it was the storyline, and you brought Anakin back in. So you could have went far woke. I mean, to be honest, Obi-Wan had some really wonky stuff in it. Everybody kind of sat back, especially when they were disguised and walking. Anyway, we're not going to go into Obi-Wan. So they continue. The problem is nothing changed in 10 years since the vocal minority, which is you and me, suddenly cried out against diverse casting because we hate it that there's people of color. No one cares and no one believes you anymore. And more nuanced storytelling. That's what they call it. So instead of bad storytelling and bad writing, it's just nuanced, guys. You're just not nuanced enough to understand this awful, terrible writing. If you were nuanced, you'd understand what we're doing here. Anyway, they continue. They've yet to actually learn their lesson. Their arguments are bleeding into every casual discourse surrounding the Acolyte. Comments on the set design and screenwriting have turned into misogynistic microaggressions against Headland. Microaggressions, everybody, not the big ones, the little ones. Even critiques on the series have been weaponized by its haters. All right. In the chat, critiques being weaponized by its haters. All right. What is that? So if I have a critique of something, how is it what is not the critique just a critique? How can a critique be weaponized? How can a critique be weaponized? I don't understand. You can just have a critique. It could be a harsh critique. Is that a weapon in itself? How do you take a critique and then weaponize it against the by its hate? How do you do that? How do you weaponize a critique? I don't even understand that. Maybe I haven't thought enough about it. Maybe I'm not nuanced enough. There's no room for nuance when it comes to the that word again, nuance. They love that word. You either stand with the series, flaws and all, or you're irrevocably against it. Flaws and all. I hope they're alluding to the fact that there was a fire in space. Because I had a problem with that, and that has nothing to do with diverse, unless it was like, some kind of woke person decided that there's some kind of thing in there about fire in space. Is that some dog whistle from the woke side? I don't know. It was just dumb writing, but they can't admit to dumb writing. Well, they did say flaws and all. Anyway, I told you guys, when they start putting fires on spaceships in space, it's downhill from there. Anyway, let's continue. The origins of this toxicity aren't difficult to figure out. At the end of the day, it boils down to entitlement. Everybody, you are entitled. Many male fans feel like they own the franchise and determined to safeguard it from anyone that can challenge that ownership. That makes it hard for disparate groups to coexist. And it's even harder for non-white, non-male creatives hoping to tell stories within their franchise. There it is, folks. There it is. Right at the end. That's it. They gave it away. They gave it away. And I said that, so I'm trying not to regurgitate old podcasts, but they said this before. And I've said this before. The reason Star Wars fans are highly critical of everything that comes out, same with Marvel fans, same with all these goofy nerds and geeks out there. The reason why they're highly critical is because they've seen what good is, number one, and they fell in love with that good. They love these series. They enjoy these characters. They enjoy these storylines. They become attached to them, and they become sacred. These are our toys, and you're taking them. Like, it's like you coming into my house, picking up my action figures if I had them, I'm 10, and you're just smashing them on the ground and going, you like that story? And I'm supposed to thank you? I'm supposed to thank you? And that's what they're saying. It's like, oh, you know what? All these people, they own the Star Wars. Look, we do own it. We do own it. We've lived with these forever. These are part of like my childhood. My Star Wars is like a giant section of my childhood. Same with Marvel. Like, these things have been with me for ages. And I know I've read bad comics and been like, this comic's garbage. You move past it. But this is the stuff that blows my mind because they're like, no, you don't get to say. You don't get to say you don't own this. We get to do what we want. And they gave away the game right there, everybody. And so that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Brand loyalty. This is a weird thing. Because if I was number one, if I was a brand, and I was stepping into Star Wars, and I knew their fan base. Like, say I'm, somebody. Let's just pull someone random like John Favreau or Dave Filoni, and I know Star Wars fans are highly critical because I'm one. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm highly critical. So when I touch these stories, I'm gonna be very gentle with them. I'm gonna do a really good job, and I'm gonna take time to really pay attention to the details in the stories. And then maybe I can actually fix things that when someone else came in with like The Last Jedi and just smashed all my toys apart, I could pull a Filoni and come in and kind of put them back together and make it make sense again because I care about the fans. I care about what they think. Because I am one. The telltale sign is they're saying that you don't own it. When they say you, they're separating you. The people making the Acolyte, they're not Star Wars fans. They're not fans of this stuff. That's why you're a fan. You're in a separate category, and they're the ones getting to play with the toys. They're the ones getting to play with the series. And they're saying that, well, if you, because you feel like you own it, we don't have anything, we don't have to listen to the fans. We can do whatever we want. And you, being a Star Wars fan, should just like it. Why can't you like it? Why can't you like the things we do? Is it because you're a racist? Maybe you're misogynistic. Maybe you're transphobic. Or maybe you just hate gay people. Maybe that's what it is. No, no, we like good stories. We like things that are sacred to us in this thing. And you don't just get to acclaim our attention. And so this is why I didn't watch. I read these articles, and this is why I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this third episode. I'm not going to watch any of them after it. And I mean, they would have to do something super awesome to pull me back into the Acolyte. And even then, I probably would just skip these episodes because I read the article. I don't need to see them. Still, I don't know if they can fix this bad story. Maybe Filoni can come in and solve the Acolyte. But why does he have to? Why can't if I had say I've got I say I own Coca-Cola. Here's a better one. Say I'm working for Bud Light. Here's a good one. And and I got to hire a marketing manager. I got to hire someone to do something. The one thing I might put on the like the application, like a resume, if someone's coming in to be hired and I'm hiring the person to work for Bud Light, the one thing I might ask them, like, hey, how do you feel about Bud Light? You like it? Do you like the taste? Do you like the brand? You've been drinking it for a while? Oh no, you haven't? You haven't drank any Bud Light ever? You don't? Okay. Well, no, you're hired. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Do whatever you want. Put whoever you want on the can. Why not? What is this? What is this? And why would anyone think that's good? Any brand, take any brand, Coca-Cola. You work for Coca-Cola. You're hiring somebody. Hey, do you like Coke? Nope. I absolutely hate Coke. Well, you're hired. Let's definitely hire people who hate this company. Like, what is this? Or don't even know anything about it. Say yours like, Coca-Cola, we're not doing so great. Maybe we should hire in somebody new. When they come in and go, you know what Coca-Cola should do? I'm the new hire. I'm going to tell you how to fix this. Start making Pepsi. What? Like, what? Like, what is this? Anyway, all these people, this Kathleen Kennedy, this new headland person, they're not fans of Star Wars, and they don't like you because you are one, and you're highly critical. What they're doing is we're going to tell a story, and you should just like it because you're a Star Wars fan. And if you don't like it, it means you're probably not a real Star Wars fan, or you're just pull off the list, racist, misogynist. And I know I'm a white guy, and I sure you can do it at this point in time. Sure, sure. I don't like it because I'm a white. I don't know what me being white has to do with not liking the Acolyte. I actually like the first two episodes. Does that not throw a wrench in your stupid, you know, woke stuff? Because it's bad storytelling, guys, but they don't care. They don't care about you. And this is why I think brand loyalty is dumb. People should have to earn your attention. Brands too. So I have a friend and he's a big brand. Oh, here's a good example. Here's two good examples. A friend of mine is super brand loyal. Has like one shirt brand he wears all the time. Has like all of his things are brands, like anything he's involved in. I don't know if it's a personality thing, maybe. Maybe it's personality. Maybe you have that. Maybe you have like one brand. I have a particular brand. I'll tell you what my brands are. DeWalt. I'm a contractor. All my tools are DeWalt. Well, you can ask me, David, why DeWalt? Because they're the best? No. No, I have a buddy I work with. All of his tools are Milwaukee. Um, do you want to know why we're brand loyal to these? Because our batteries on our impacts and drills, they're all interchangeable. Do I think DeWalt's the greatest company out there? No, but I happen to have three tools, so I might as well just buy all the others. That am I sold this? Am I wearing a DeWalt shirt because I think DeWalt is the greatest thing? No, maybe if I bought stock in DeWalt, maybe I should buy stock in DeWalt. That's what it means to be pragmatic. You can be brand loyal and pragmatic. I would have been brand loyal to Star Wars had they at least kept with the theme. You can make mistakes. Look, I didn't like Force Awakens, but the only reason I didn't like Force Awakens is because it killed off Han Solo. Still went to the movies to see The Last Jedi. I was like, all right, look, it's up, but I love Star Wars and I have faith that they're going to do the right thing. Last Jedi sucked. And then the one after that wasn't so bad, but still kind of sucked too. And then Mandalorian came out, and I was like, "Oh, I'm back on." Okay, so you screw up, and I'm still here. I'm still a Star Wars fan. You know, you can make mistakes. I'm just gonna be critical of the mistakes you make, but I'm still gonna watch them when they come out because I have faith in you. I have faith in the brand. Mandalorian does great. Back on the Star Wars train. Book of Boba, kind of wonky. Uh, that's okay. I still have faith in the brand. Mandalorian 3, I don't know about this. Still have faith in the brand. Obi-Wan, all right, now you're talking my language. This is how fans do it. We don't just give up because something about the story didn't quite sit well with us. We'll critique it, but then we always come back. This garbage, this particular kind of attitude where we can do whatever we want, and if you don't like it, you'll come back anyway. But when you do come back, please keep your mouth shut. Enjoy it, because if you open your mouth and critique our thing, you're ruining the fun for everyone else. No joke, I did see a bunch of tweets out there. People like, I enjoyed this episode. If you just go into it to have fun, and it's a good time. Why are everyone so mad? Just have a good time. It's because this isn't standalone. If this was the Acolyte was its own story, then maybe you can have fun with it. But it's tied to generations of other storytelling. So when you like smash that in the mud, it's intrinsically connected to all the others. That goes for the Marvel thing too. That's the problem I had with She-Hulk when they started going into like weird fourth wall stuff beyond times where she ends up in the Marvel Studios. It's like you ruin things because they're intrinsically connected. I know you feel like these are one-offs, but they're not. They're connected. That's what makes them awesome. So when you do something like destroy something that's intrinsically connected, you automatically taint everything else. That's the Anakin Skywalker story. All right, I'm ranting about this, but that was my point. Brands are dumb. They need to earn your trust and your faith and your attention. Don't just have faith in a brand. If I think it's dumb, but I think it goes back to this personality trait where people feel lonely without a tribe. People have a hard time creating a personality in general, so it makes sense to actually, why not connect yourself to a brand? Yeah, there's this meme that goes around all the time. I know I'm ranting, guys. I didn't really have a lot going on this Sunday, so I thought I'd just rant about the Acolyte. But there's this meme. It says when guys hit 30, they make one of these for their personalities. And it's like one's a grill, one's a car mechanic, one's golf, and one's like beer. And it's kind of true. Like, when you get into my age, guys kind of tend to lean towards a hobby and then they just kind of go full tilt. I have some friends that never golfed until they hit 30, and now that's their thing is golfing. I don't understand it. I think golfing's ridiculous. I've tried it, and here's the thing: I've actually tried it a few times. I didn't like it, and nothing infuriates a golfer than hearing that someone tried golfing and didn't like it because they're like, "How could you not like golfing?" Because it's not everything to me, and I like the things I like. If you I have some friends out there that hate Star Wars and never, they watched, Phantom Menace and like, no, it's not for me. I'm not mad. Okay, then don't. That's totally cool. Blows my mind that people's personalities are built into brands and concepts. Um, but I think this is a tribal aspect. I think people feel a little bit when there's so much options, there's so many things that you can like and be a part of. So many Facebook communities you can sign up to. Here's a cool beer IPA community. You can sign up to that. When you start to like lose touch, well, who am I? Maybe I should tie myself to this particular kind of community. Um, I think it's a reassurance, but I think it's an easy way out. I think it's a way for people to avoid building personality on their own. And when I say that, I also think that inclines people to not be so much as Renaissance people as they used to be. This goes along with politics too. I know we're always talking about politics, and I keep bringing up the tribal thing, guys. The tribal part. If you're a grifter, tribal stuff is great. I'm gonna say this again. If you grift, go hardcore in the paint for one tribe or the other. It's a good call. If you're looking to gain followers, likes, subscribes, like and subscribe, you jabronis, find a tribe and go all in. Don't critique the tribe, barely even bring it up. The people who actually do have nuance, you got to be really good with that, but it's not an easy route. It's not an easy route. If you kind of look at things from an objective perspective, be like, well, I don't know, like people that I know and people I follow, myself included. I like Trump. I'm voting for Trump. Don't think he did everything great. Doesn't think he does a lot of things great. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring up a clip here in a minute. We're going to watch. Still going to vote for him. And it's because I'm not trouble. Well, David just overlooks all of he's a convicted felon. No, I look at my options and go, no, this one's the best one. Now, Trump's a little bit different because I'm not sure everyone, again, I say this every time. Everyone's like, well, I don't like him personally. He's not the best character, but his policies were pretty good. I'm actually going to flip that one on its head. The policies were mediocre. His personality is pretty awesome and friggin' hilarious. The fact that the guy during a speech, and this is the thing you'll never see, and people are like, this is a disgrace. He's running for president. It's because you don't look at the clowns when they're clowning you. If you knew all the politicians were clowns and they're laughing in your face, then you're the joke. But if you know that they're clowns, then they're the joke. So laugh at them all. But the fact that Trump, during a speech, is talking about prices being so high, and bro whips out a Cheesecake Factory menu. I don't know if you saw this, and reads the prices. That's like that's prop comedy. Like, it's great. Anyway, personality 100%. Hope his policies catch up. But brand loyalty, man, I think it puts you in a position. And like 20 years ago, people were like, we don't like labels. Don't label people, because then you just if you put a label on somebody, that's all they amount to be. There's so much more than just the label that you can picture in your head. Lo and behold, 20 years later, no, you do pretty good. If you just slap a label on people, you're probably spot on. And I've heard this said before, you could pick up anyone from MSNBC, any of the anchors, any of the hosts, and just pull them out without hearing a word they say, sit them down, and I guarantee you'd be able to bet all of their political point of views on cultural stuff, policy stuff. You can nail it down almost to about 95% just because they're on CNN and MSNBC. Labels are perfectly fine nowadays. They may be not used to, but I think that was because people are a little bit more in depth. I think as time's gone and people have seen how the world functions, I don't think people are as in depth as they used to be. I hope that changes, because if it doesn't, we're never going to see anything like a Renaissance man. Like a Renaissance, like a Da Vinci, a guy who can, write and invent and draw and do all, like people like that, people who have multiple things that they can do at once. I would like to see a return of that. But that's hard when people just sign on to one thing. Like, oh, I'm a conservative Trump supporter, I'm a DeSantis guy, or I'm a Biden guy, or whatever. And then everyone looks at that and goes, oh, I guess I have to do this too. No, you don't. You can just be nuanced. Here's the cool thing, and I'm keeping on the politics thing. And this is how it should be. I'm technically a registered independent, and I like that, because if you notice, every time our election comes around, who are they talking about? They're not talking about the registered Republicans or the Democrats. They're talking about independents, the swing voters, because they're trying to get their attention. So this brand loyalty thing, they just think they got it. Like, this is a constant conversation about minorities and the Democrats. Like the Democrats think they own the minorities. They're going to get their vote no matter what. And a lot of times they do. But that shouldn't be that way. You should make these people earn your vote. You should make them care about you. And so this is the next clip. We're going to talk about this real quick. Let me pull it up, because Trump went to Vegas. Trump went to Vegas and he had some stuff to say. So I'm going to pull this up and hopefully it works. It's going to be on Twitter. Sorry, it was a long S. It's going to be on Twitter. So I'm hoping this thing actually does well. I'm going to full screen it. We're going to split it like this. So Trump is in Vegas and he said a bunch of stuff that CNN definitely hated. This is the LA Times magazine, or LA Times or whatever. LA Times magazine, or Los Angeles magazine. And they had this. So he was saying some stuff about the wind and stuff like that. We're going to watch this full clip because the media pundits lost their ever-loving minds. But I want you to hear this and tell me what your thoughts are.
By the way,
hold on. Let me make sure this works. Oh, all right, let's try it out.
By the way, isn't that breeze nice? Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. By the way, isn't that breeze
Let's
nice?
hear it again.
Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
All right, so this would be atrocious. And I'm sure everyone's like, oh my God, he just said the quiet part out loud. He doesn't care about you. He just wants your vote, bro. Donald Trump isn't thinking about me right now. Yeah, he may want independence, and you saw that through his actions. But him saying this, I don't care about you. I just want your vote. It could be totally true, and I don't care because they all don't care about me. They all want my vote. Does that make sense to you? Do you think out there Trump is thinking about you? No, no, no. Everyone's thinking about him. He does want your vote. He might actually care about you, but if he's going to care about you, he's going to do it through his actions. Here's a good aspect of what it means when I say through his actions. Let's take two. Well, let's use Trump real quick. He might not care about me, but he's definitely going to placate towards me by doing stuff like going to the Libertarian Convention. He didn't have to. He doesn't care about libertarians, but he cares about their votes. And he cares enough to where he didn't just say he cares about their votes or he doesn't care about their votes. He actually went to the Libertarian Convention and talked to them. And this is how you know Biden wants your vote. He doesn't care about you, but he wants your vote, especially the younger crowd, by just canceling student loan debt. It's just a bribe. They don't technically care about you. Now, I believe Trump actually cares about the country. I think Biden actually cares about himself. Now, you can flip that and be like, Trump only cares about himself. To be honest, I've looked at this. If he really cared about himself, the guy would have retired and went on vacation like, I don't know, 7 years ago. At least 3 years ago. He'd have been like, yeah, I'm out. But no. So something suspicious about this. Maybe he likes power, or maybe he just likes being raked over the coals and whatever. I don't know. And maybe he's a masochist. Maybe Trump's a masochist. Makes me like him even more. Either way, I don't need Trump to really tell me he cares about me. I don't need people to lie to me. I don't need them to be like, hey, David, I care about you and your vote. Like they're politicians, man. Like vote for the person you think is going to do the best job for the country. That's fine. That's kind of the point. I don't need them to care about me. What kind of an emotional thing is this where I need my governor to care about my feelings? No, I just need you to do what you think is best for the country and I'll follow suit. Like I'll vote for you. I don't care if you care about me. I care about what you think is going to do the country better. That's the point. That's what it means to not be tribal. And that's what it means to critique when critique is needed, to have nuance. And just think about this in a realistic stance. The CNN was like, Trump doesn't care about you. Yeah, no kidding. Who cares? Who cares if he doesn't care about me? I just want him to do the thing that he's saying he's going to do. I prefer Trump to lie or to tell me the truth, tell me the things that I don't want to, even if this was, I mean, he literally said it was a joke and that CNN was going to take it. But either way, hypothetically, say it was a Freudian slip. He was like, oh my God, I just told these people the truth. I don't really care about them. Say that's true. I don't care. I don't need you to care about me. I'm a grown adult. And hopefully you're watching this. You're a grown adult too. And if you're a child watching this, what are you doing? Go to bed. But yeah, brand loyalty, man. I think it's a plague on the brain. I think it's an easy way for people to fall into. I think it's an easy thing for people to feel a part of something and a part of a community or a part of something bigger than they are, and that's a very cool human aspect. I'm not saying all that's bad. What I am saying is don't fall for it, because that's what cults do. Cults get hook, line, and sinker, and then they start to pull themselves away and be like, I don't know, this whole cult thing is starting to look kind of weird. The cult leader doing all this, taking all my money and sleeping with all these guys' wives, like that stuff. You should be able to pull back and go, I don't know about this. The same way you watch Acolyte and go, hey, these costumes are pretty cool. The stage setting's pretty cool, but this whole storyline sucks. I should be able to do that without the people in charge coming out and calling me a bigot or a racist or misogynist or whatever the list. Guys, these words don't mean anything anymore. I don't know if you were told that. I'm just going to let you know, none of these words mean anything. They're useless. They used them too much. Everybody cried wolf. Now they don't mean anything. So take with that what you will. I'm most likely not going to finish this Acolyte. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime good. Like I said, if they pull some cool cameo in, I don't know what they could do at this point. There's no one around. Maybe a baby Yoda. They haven't done that before, but the actual baby Yoda, they could pull him in. At this point, that might be their only saving grace, and they could do it. It could be a tiny baby Yoda. We get baby Yoda, the original baby Yoda. Put that on. I'm betting they put that in there. And if they don't expect the ratings to go up. Expect more articles to come out about how you're a racist and a bigot. But don't be brand loyal. I might just be done with Star Wars till something else good comes out. Here's the other thing too. Let's talk about Marvel real fast, and I'll give you a good example. Marvel hit or miss constantly. Good, bad, good, bad. It's that constant meme of we're so back. Oh, we're done forever. The good, bad, good, bad. And it never has anything to do with any kind of diverse or woke or whatever. Who really cares? Because one of the things that I didn't expect to like, Guardians of the Galaxy was it's fun. It's a good time. I didn't really ever take them too seriously. They're just kind of in between shows. Like no one's like, I'm a Guardians fan. Like that's my guy, or that's my group. No one does that. Ended up Guardians Volume 3 ended up being one of the top favorite Marvel movies out of all of them because the writing was superb. It was so good. The writing was so good. I don't care who's the characters. Don't care. Don't care what color they are. Don't care if they're blue, they're aliens. None of that stuff matters. The writing was so good. Didn't even think about it. I don't know who likes whose sexuality is what, because it doesn't matter to me because the writing was so good. If you can do that without pandering, that's the other thing these people don't ever talk about. They just hate this woke agenda. No, we just know you're pandering. Like, we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing. You're just pandering. You're just being like, oh, this is the thing that they hate. This will get a bunch of clicks, and this will also, signal to our group. It's just pandering now. Like, you don't have to overtly do this where we have to call it out all the time. Either way, I'm ranting again. This one went longer than I thought, but either way, The Acolyte totally sucks. Star Wars totally sucks. Mandalorian's supposed to come out with a movie. Maybe they'll bring Star Wars back from the brink, and we'll all be like, oh, we're so back again. Hey, if that happens, I'm here for it. But the one thing I won't do is I'm not going to watch everything that comes out with Star Wars label on it at this point in time. Same with Marvel. I've given that train up. Star Wars 2. Look, I like the brands. I'm not brand loyal. They have to earn my attention. So unless they put out something good, I'll watch it. But if they don't, not even for the continuous storyline. Like, that was the other thing. Like, maybe I should watch the Marvels because it might tie the whole story together. Nope. Everything's a friggin' one-off. They haven't done any story tying together since Avengers Ultron or Endgame. That was the last time. And then after that, all your universes, they're all separate. Doesn't matter. Multiverse of madness, doesn't matter. You think you're going to get all these? Nope, you're not. None of them are going to connect. None of the other characters are going to talk to the other characters. They're not building to any grand storyline like we thought they were. It's all one off, and you're supposed to just swallow it, hook, line, sinker, and you're supposed to clap. So thank you, Marvel, Star Wars, for giving me something else to watch. No, dump them. They need to earn your attention. Don't just give it to it. Anyway, hopefully that was a lesson this week. Sorry, nothing but rants, not a lot of jokes. But yeah, maybe it was kind of a boring week. The week before that, all hell broke loose, and this week, just Star Wars broke loose. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you back here next time. I don't have a cool sign off thing now, so I'm just saying God bless. And see you back here.